A description of the Porsche can be commonly visualized as the Widowmaker, a silhouette of the 911 rear-engined rear-wheel drive sports car, or as some say, a squashed Volkswagen Beetle. Today in this video, we're taking a look at how I've turned my all-wheel drive RC car into a rear-wheel drive rally car that drives very nicely. We've done a few more things than just put a set of off-road tires on, and I have plans in the future for this thing. There's a lot to say, so let's get started. This is a TT02 car chassis by Tamiya. It's a very entry-level model in its base form. I say base because there's a few renditions of this TT02 model. The TT02R, the TT02RR, the TT02 Type S, the TT02 SR, and this TT02 base model we have here. If you're into RC, this needs no intro, as you probably have one yourself. If you don't know what it is, it's plastic heaven. Very solid, flexible, forgiving plastic makes up this car. I used to think this was nonsense before I got my hands on one. Terrible prejudice, Rex. Although it may seem like a toy with plastic drive shafts, plastic ball joints, do not dismiss the potential for this car to be what you want. A great feature from the factory is that you're provided with the option to run your wheel hubs right side up or upside down, directly and effectively changing the ride height from touring car to rally car. Well, I took it a few steps further. After removing the center drive shaft and filling holes left over by missing shafts, I proceeded to play with the car. It felt alright, but I couldn't help but be bothered by how much the car jumps when it hits bumps. That's due to the limited suspension travel. After inspecting what the limiting factors were, I came to the conclusion that these crucial suspension arm pieces were limiting at the ball joint edges. So I did what I had to and ground away at all this material to allow more movement without contact. Next was the travel of the shocks. My solution to this was to call up my local hobby shop and ask if they have 2mm styrene that I could glue together to make 10mm styrene for a new shock tower extension to hold my new larger shocks. They kindly told me to save my money and go visit a dollar store to pick up a plastic cutting board, preferably in Delrin. Genius. With that information in my head, I attained a cutting board and started mocking up my mounting points. I used the original shock mounting holes to mount my newer shock tower extension, as it's far less work than to make a whole new shock tower that captures the upper hinge pins. I cut the plastic with a handsaw and filed it down with a desk grinder. I made 2 of them. It was easy once I had one. I then mounted the new shocks to the lower control arm so I could mock up where the upper shock mounts need to be. Once that was marked, I made 2 more optional shock mounting positions. With the towers done, it was mounting time. All mounted up and ready to go play. But wait, if you're following my journey, then you'll have seen in my last video I mentioned I wanted to remove some of the 4 ounces of weight I added to the rear bumper. Well, I've not done that. Instead, I've added 3 ounces to the front bumper, making the car a hefty 1.9 kilos. But that solves my issue with the suspension being too stiff for the look I'm going for. The idea of this car was not fully performance. I wanted a car that could be fun, a car that could lean and absorb the road bumps as if it were a real chunk of metal on wheels. So that's how I made my rear-wheel drive rally Porsche. I hope you found this video entertaining, and I'll see you soon for the running video.